This is the video for Mod 3 Lesson 9, Finding Roots and Graphing. In Mod 3 Lesson 9, this is our last video for the mod, and really it's just putting all of our concepts together. So if you can do all the problems in this video, you're in pretty good shape for the test because it's really putting everything together that we've done. So the first thing is we're identifying characteristics, and we're eventually going to graph, and I put the graph on the next slide so we can kind of calculate some stuff here. So you're given an equation, and a few things that we know right away. It's a degree 3, which is odd. Our lead coefficient is a positive 1. And our y-intercept, since it's in standard form, is actually a positive 8. So that's just simply all identifying it when it's in that standard form. We also know since it's a cubic, so a degree 3, with a positive in front, it's going to roughly make this like normal x cubed shape right here. And we know that when I go to the left, it's going downwards. And when I go upwards, it's, going to positive infinity. So we actually know the end behavior already too, because it follows like your typical cubic function. So even without doing any type of calculating, we know all these things already. We also know, we don't know that maybe all the roots are factored, but those kind of get answered together by dividing and factoring. We're also told that one of the roots is 2. So I have a root of 2. If it's a cubic, we know we have 2 other answers that we still need to find. So we know one of those 3 answers. Now is when we have to do a little bit of the calculating. So we're going to go ahead and use our synthetic division. So I know I have a 2 here. I'm going to rewrite the coefficient. So 1x cubed, 1x squared, negative 10 is the x, and 8 is the constant. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this straight down. So bring down the 1. 1 times 2 is 2, and I get this to be 3. 3 times 2 is 6, and I get this to be negative 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. My remainder is 0. And so I always do 1 degree less, so I know it's going to be x squared plus 3x minus 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and factor this out. So what are numbers that multiply to negative 4 but add to 3? And I'm going to have here 4 and negative 1. Okay, and then so this would be obviously my factored answer, and I still have that minus 2. This is the same as x minus 2. So this would be my equation in factored form. And then my intercepts are the opposite of what's here. So if this is 4, this is negative 4. If this is positive 2, we already had that one. And this is a positive 1. So I have roots at 2, negative 4, and 1. And my factored form is x plus 4, x minus 1, and x minus 2. When we get to the graphing part, and again, these are the answers we just calculated. The graphing part, we're just going to use our intercepts. We know it's going to make like that shape a cubic makes, a little S shape. And then we know we have a y-intercept of 8. So if we go to our graph, I'm just going to go ahead and plop that on there. So we have here a y-intercept of negative 4. And yeah, y-intercept of negative 4. There's a good color. We also have a x-intercept of negative 4, an x-intercept of positive 2, and then an x-intercept of positive 1, and then a y-intercept of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're just going to do our best to kind of connect all of these points kind of following this where we have this end behavior. So I'm going to start at the bottom left. I'm going to go up, hit through, And you get something that kind of looks like this, right? So I went through a y-intercept, I went through the x-intercepts, and then my end behavior matches what I listed. All right, for example 2, this is one where we maybe have a double root, but again, there's lots of things we can answer already. I see it's a degree 4, so I'm going to list here that I have a 4, it's even. My leading coefficient is a positive 1. My y-intercept I can see is a positive 6. And we also know a couple things here. We know if it's degree 4, it's going to have 4 roots. But one of the roots is a double root. So that 1 is going to count as 2 roots, basically. And so I know that I'm going to have, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 2 other answers. I also know that if this is a 4, it's going to make kind of like this W shape. So, and it's a positive leading coefficient, so it's going to go to positive infinity on both ends. So lots of things we can answer before we actually even calculate anything. So now we're going to have to do synthetic division, but if we have a double root, we might actually have to do this twice, and that's okay because it doesn't take too long to divide. So we have a 1 here. I'm going to list it out. So for x4, I'm going to erase this. So for x4, I have 1. For x3, I have 3. For x squared, I have negative 3. For x, I have negative 7. And my constant is 6. And then now we're just going to go ahead and do our synthetic division. So 1 times 1 is 1. We get 4. 4 times 1 is 4. I get 1. 1 times 1 is 1. I get negative 6. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. And so I get, this is x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. So that's one of our roots, but it's actually a double root, so we can actually divide it actually twice. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time. I got 1, I got 4, I got 1, I got negative 6. And if I bring it down, I'm going to have a 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. Then I got a 5. 5 times 1 is 5. And then I get a constant of 0. So it's actually x squared plus 5x plus 6. And then now I'm going to go ahead and factor it, see if I can factor this. So I had 2 roots that were the same. I divided it twice. And now I'm going to go ahead and factor this out. And so factors of 6 that add to 5, that's x plus 2, x plus 3. So my factored form would be if I wrote this all out. So my factored form, I have a double root, and this is like an x minus 1 quantity squared. So I actually have x minus 1 quantity squared, x plus 2, x minus 3, or x plus 3. That's my factored form, and I have roots at negative 2 and negative 3, and a double root at 1. And now when we get to the graphing part, we're first just going to plot all of our points. So again, it's a degree 4, so it's going to make kind of like this W shape. And we have a double root at 1, so I'm going to write a 1 right here. So basically, it's not going to pass through this point. It's just going to kind of bounce. And then we have 1 at negative 2 and negative 3. So when we go ahead, and then our y-intercept is at positive 6. So now when we go ahead and connect this, we're going to start from the top, go down. We have a double root at 1, because this is where our double root is. And it would look something kind of like this. If you have any questions, you can sign up for T-Bolt time, get help in the center, or ask questions during class.